Before we move into the detailed high frequency analysis, let us get acquainted with Miller effect capacitance. In the high frequency region, the capacitive elements of importance are the inter-electrode capacitances, then the capacitances internal to the active device, and the wiring capacitance between the leads of the network. So the large capacitors which affected the low frequency response, that is CS, CE and CC, are replaced by their short circuit equivalent because of their low reactance levels when you consider the high frequency analysis. So what actually is the effect of these Miller input capacitance, we'll see, but for the analysis of this Miller input capacitance, we are considering the feedback capacitor from output to input. As far as a common emitter amplifier is concerned, this feedback capacitor is from the collector side to the base side. So we are going to find out the equation for Miller input capacitance, how this feedback capacitor from collector to base is going to affect the uh, gain. Okay, so here you see AV is V0 by Vi and Ri is representing the input resistance, Zi is the input impedance. At this junction, if Ii is the current or a base current, then I1 and I2 are the I1 is the current that is flowing into the network and I2 is the current that is flowing through this feedback capacitor. Now when you apply Kirchhoff's current law at this particular junction, II is equal to I1 plus I2, and you substitute for II with Vi by Zi, this is the net impedance, and I1 is Vi by Ri. You will get an expression for Vi by Zi, Vi by Ri, and this is what is I2? Vi minus V0 by the capacitive reactance, Vi minus V0 divided by XCF. So this will give you V0 as AV into Vi. AV is a voltage gain, and finally you get an expression 1 minus AV into Vi by XCF. And again, if you simplify or divide by Vi, you get 1 by Zi is equal to 1 by Ri plus 1 by XCF divided by 1 minus AV. Now XCF by 1 minus AV, you are representing it as 1 by omega 1 minus AV into CF. So what is the CF? Is the feedback capacitor, and this term is represented as CM, Miller capacitance CM. Or this you can finally write it down as this expression can be written as 1 by Zi equal to 1 by Ri plus 1 by XCM. Okay, so this XCM is the Miller input reactance. Okay, so what are the factors coming here? 1 minus AV into CF is the capacitance CM. Now here you see Zi is the input impedance, II is the input impedance, Vi is the input voltage, and you have Ri in parallel with CM. What is CM? 1 minus AV into CF. So this is the effect of Miller capacitance. For any inverting amplifier, the input capacitance will be increased by a Miller effect capacitance sensitive to the gain of the amplifier and inter-electrode capacitance between the input and output terminals of the active device. Okay, so you are representing this with CM. Now, how this Miller effect capacitance is going to affect the output capacitance? So here you see the network employed in the derivation is the same. You are considering the output. So V0 is here and output resistance is R0, and I0 you have I2 and I1. You are observing from the output side. So AV is V0 by Vi. So again, when you apply Kirchhoff's current law here, you get expressions like this. I1 is V0 by R0, I2 is V0 minus Vi by XCF. Similar analysis you do here. And finally, on simplification, what do you get? I0 is equal to V0 minus V0 by AV by XCF. In a similar manner, you are deriving. So again V0 by I0, what do you get? Is XCF by 1 minus 1 by AV, or 1 by omega CF into 1 minus 1 by AV, and you are replacing this term with CMO, or the output Miller output capacitance CMO. So CMO is nothing but 1 minus 1 by AV into CF. For AV greater than 1, the CMO is approximately equal to CF. And we are going to use these in the high frequency response analysis. So again, for high frequency response analysis, you need an RC combination which will define the higher cutoff frequency. Just like low frequency analysis, you need to find out the higher cutoff frequency, FH here. So FH is the higher cutoff frequency is determined by this equivalent circuit, where C is this capacitance is coming into picture across the output terminals here. We have seen that the theory behind how the total capacitance is affecting the higher cutoff frequency. So 1 by 1 plus J F by Fs. This is an expression similar to the lower cutoff frequency which we derived. Please note the change in sign because you are taking the output across the capacitor here when it comes to the high frequency conditions. The parallel capacitance are coming into picture. Now the network with capacitors that affect the high frequency response, you are already familiar with these capacitances: CBC, CW wiring capacitances, then CBE, CCE, CWO, etc. These capacitors are coming into picture only at high frequencies. Now the high frequency AC equivalent model will have, from this circuit you are drawing this model. So here you have the resistance R is here, then R1 parallel to R2, isn't it? Then RC, RE, etc. But RE will be shorted out by this CE because it is at high frequency. Please remember that. So here RS, R1 parallel to R2, then RI is the input resistance. Then we have CI representing the wiring resistance and the input resistances, the CWI and CBE, but CBC will be represented in terms of the Miller input capacitance, because we have seen how the CBC is affecting the effectively at the input you have the Miller input capacitance, because you have the gain factor also coming there, and we have derived the expression for CMI in terms of CBC. Okay, now this is the Thevenin equivalent circuit we are considering for the input and Thevenin equivalent circuit for the output. We are going to see that. Before that, just see what is the output capacitance C naught. It is a wiring capacitance at the emitter side. Then CCE you have. Then the Miller output capacitance, which is representing the relation between the output and input. So here we have the Thevenin equivalent circuit for the input side. Okay, so at the input side, if you observe, what is the RTHI? What is the equivalent Thevenin resistance? You have RS parallel to R1 parallel to R2 parallel to beta RE. What is beta RE? It is the input resistance RI, as far as this is coming in the blue region. So this RI is representing the input resistance of the transistor. Okay, so we have that expression in terms of RE, beta RE. So this RTHI, the Thevenin equivalent circuit, you have ETHI and this RTHI, which is a parallel combination of these resistances and the input capacitance. So what is the cutoff frequency? Because of at the input side, FHI is 1 by 2 pi RTHI into CI. Then RTHI is a parallel combination of these resistances. Now, what is CI? We have CWI plus CBE plus Miller capacitance. This Miller capacitance, we have already derived the expression in terms of CF. What is CF? That was a general expression where CF was indicating the feedback. Here, what is the feedback from collector to base? So, you have 1 minus AV into CBC. So, the input capacity, the frequency is decided by these factors RTHI and CI, where CI has the components, the wiring capacitance, then the base to emitter capacitance, which is coming into picture at high frequencies, then the Miller effect capacitance. You have derived the expression because this feedback is going to be not simply CBC, but you have 1 minus AV term also coming into picture, which you have analyzed when we discuss the Miller effect. Now at very high frequencies, the effect of CI is to reduce the total impedance of the parallel combination of R1, R2, beta RA and CI. So this will result in a reduced level of voltage across Ci and a reduction in Ib and gain for the system. Okay, that is how the gain is reducing. Now, if you consider the output side, similarly the Thevenin equivalent circuit, if you consider, you have seen the output side, if you form the Thevenin equivalent circuit for this particular output side, again you have C naught in picture here, the output capacitance, then RTH naught. RTH naught is a parallel combination of RC, RL and R naught. Okay, R naught is the output resistance of the transistor. Okay. Now FH naught, the cutoff frequency because of this will be 1 by 2 pi RTH naught into C naught. Here you see C naught is the sum of CW naught and CCE and CM naught. Again Miller effect capacitance output on the output is coming is here, isn't it? So here CBC, how it is affecting the output capacitor. So here you have derived this expression, this 1 minus 1 by AV into CF. Here CF is nothing but CBC. Okay, so we are incorporating the effect of this gain also in the output capacitance by from the analysis of the Miller output capacitance. So CW naught plus CCE plus CM naught. So that is giving you the output capacitance. But here you see the Miller output capacitance has little effect. If AV is very large, this term will be small. So 1 will be very much greater than 1 by AV. So in that case you can consider this to be, if 1 is very much greater than this term, you can consider this whole term to be equal to CBC itself. So at very high frequencies the capacitive reactance of C naught will decrease and consequently reduce the total impedance of the output parallel branches. So we have seen these when we discussed the theory regarding high frequency response. The net result is that V naught will also decline towards 0 as the reactance XA becomes smaller. Now another factor which contributes to the reduction in gain at high frequency is the beta variation, which we have already seen in lecture number 10. So an expression for the frequency, cutoff frequency because of this beta variation is given by HFE is equal to HFE mid band. This is the HFE during the mid band frequencies divided by 1 plus JF by FB. If you are interested, you may go through a detailed analysis of this beta variation which is given in Boylsted. I think it is beyond the scope of our discussion. We just have to conclude here that the frequencies which we derived, FH0, FHI, all these frequencies are independently analyzed, and this F beta is also seen here, and these are finally contributing to the higher cutoff frequency FH in such a manner that you will consider the lowest among these, whichever is lowest among these, that is FH0, FH1, FHI, then F beta. If we consider whichever is the smaller among these will be the will be defining the higher cutoff frequency of the common emitter amplifier which we are considering. Next, we are moving on to a hybrid pi model, which is providing a more accurate model for high frequency effects. So this hybrid pi model is considering the effect of the feedback capacitance, which is represented as Cu here, and C pi is another capacitance which is coming into picture. Now you can see other additional components here, Rb, R pi and R mu, as well as R naught here. So when the device is in the active region, this R pi is nothing but beta Re. This is nothing but beta Re, and R naught is nothing but 1 by HOE, and its value is in the range 5 kilo ohm to 40 kilo ohm. You are familiar with R naught. Then Rb is the base contact resistance or base bulk resistance and base spreading resistance all together, and this is a very small value. Usually it is neglected in other models. Okay, R mu is between the collector and base terminals. Collector and base terminals, it is a very large value and usually in the mega ohm range, and it is also usually neglected, but we are considering all the non-idealities in this hybrid pi model. Okay, so the C mu is coming into picture at high frequencies, and we'll see one by one. So whatever I have just expressed is written here. R mu is between the collector and collector and the base terminals is very large resistance and provides a feedback path from output to input. So it is typically larger than beta R naught, which places it in the mega ohm range. And what about C pi and C mu? All the capacitors that appear in the figure are stray parasitic capacitors between various junctions of the device. They are all capacitive effects that really only come into play at high frequencies. For low to mid frequencies, their reactance is very large. They can be considered as open circuits. That is why you don't see these C pi and C mu in the low frequency or mid frequency analysis. And the capacitor C pi across the input terminals can range from picofarad to tens of picofarad, and Cu from base to collector is usually limited to few picofarad, but it is magnified at the input and output, and maybe by Miller effect it is getting magnified, the Cu. Now one more difference you see here is the current source is represented in terms of GM V pi. It is represented in terms of voltage here. So this GM is nothing but the transconductance, and V pi is a voltage. Okay, V pi is a voltage across R pi. So instead of considering it as a current controlled current source, here it is a current controlled current source, we are considering it as a voltage controlled current source in this equivalent model. So what are the equivalents here with respect to our RE or hybrid H parameter model? So GM is nothing but 1 by RE. This transconductance GM is 1 by RE. We know what is RE from RE model. Then R naught is nothing but 1 by HOE, and R pi by R pi plus R mu is equal to R pi, approximately equal to R pi by RU, and this is equal to HRE. That is the equivalence here. And beta IB dash, how it is equal to GM pi, we will see. Beta IB dash, please note that IB dash is the current which is flowing through R pi. Okay, why? Because we have this effect also. We are considering this B dash, this resistance RB. That is why we have the base current is written as IB dash here. So here you see beta, excuse me, yeah, beta IB dash, you divide and multiply by RE, you get 1 by RE into RE beta IB dash, and 1 by RE you are writing it as GM, and IB dash into beta RE. Okay, so IB dash beta RE is nothing but R pi. Okay, so you get an expression IB dash R pi into GM. What is IB dash? IB dash is the current through R pi, and V pi is the voltage across R pi. So you get this beta IB dash in terms of GM V pi. So for low to mid frequency analysis, the effect of these capacitance can be ignored, and the resistance RB is usually small enough with other series elements to be ignored, while resistance RU is usually large enough compared to parallel elements. So this will result in a circuit like this. You have the base, you are ignoring RB, then you have only R pi here, isn't it? Then C mu at low frequency and mid frequency analysis I am talking about, and C pi and C mu can be neglected. Then ultimately what is resulting? You have the current source, that is GM V pi here, because you have neglected Cu and Cu and C pi, sorry, Cu and C pi. So if you neglect these, then finally you have a simplified circuit like this for the low to mid frequency analysis. Okay, and the base resistance RB can also be neglected, and in the parallel branch you have R mu also, RU, that is also of mega ohm range, that can also be neglected. So finally you get a circuit which you are already familiar with. This is the similar to the models which you have developed for the low and high the H parameter model. You know the equivalence between these and the RE or H parameter models. This is nothing but beta IB. Here IB dash will not be there because you have approximated this without RB, and you have IB current which is flowing through this. So again you have beta IB. So it is similar to the low frequency equivalent circuit now. The next concept is gain bandwidth product. So what is gain bandwidth product? This is a figure of merit applied to the amplifiers that is commonly used to initiate the design process of an amplifier. It provides an important information about the relationship between the gain of the amplifier and the expected operating frequency range or the bandwidth. Now you can find the bandwidth at two different gain levels. This is the gain level when AV is equal to 100 and when AV equal to 10. So here the midband gain is 100 and the bandwidth you can find as a difference between FH and FL. So here FH is 1 megahertz for this particular AV equal to 100 and FL is 250 hertz. So if you take the difference, it is again approximately equal to 1 megahertz. This is only in the hertz range, isn't it? And if you take AV equal to 10, you have the bandwidth FH minus FL. For this, FL is 25 hertz and FH is 10 megahertz, or the difference is again 10 megahertz. So if you take the product of gain and AV into bandwidth, you get it as 100 into 1 megahertz or 100 megahertz. This at this for this frequency plot also, if you take AV into B, this 10 into 10 megahertz, 10 megahertz, or it is nothing but 100 megahertz, or you see that the gain bandwidth product is remaining constant. So the gain bandwidth product is always a constant. So it is 100 megahertz for both the gain levels. When gain equal to 10 or when gain equal to 100, it is the same. The gain bandwidth product is a constant. So with this, I am ending the lecture number 15, where we have discussed the low frequency analysis, high frequency analysis and the hybrid pi model.